how serious is the risk of a real default here that everybody agrees would be catastrophic for the U.S. and would also have some big global economic impact?
Well, obviously, ideally, the risk would be zero. Unfortunately, it is not zero. And I think that the good news here is that there are going to be negotiations. The president can say there are two different tracks, and one doesn't have necessarily to do with the other. That they can negotiate on some sort of budget deal and raise the debt ceiling. But obviously, they are linked. So I think that's the good news. What worries me is I just don't know what that agreement looks like at the end of the day. And I found it kind of concerning that last night I saw a tweet by Jason Furman, Democratic economist, very plugged in, saying that we should at least be looking at some of the somewhat kooky ideas like minting the coin. That we at least should look at that there might be worse options. So I'm more concerned than what I should be, and I should be zero concerned.
All right, before we dip into some kooky plans or kooky ideas, Jimmy, I want to get to some real world things. I was actually looking back at the 2011 debt ceiling crisis. And during that crisis, we saw a lot of market turbulence. Actually, from mid-July to August, while this deal is being worked out, the S&P dropped by 17%, according to our data here at CNBC. What do you see as the potential market impact from this Tuesday meeting if we don't see some type of agreement, at least a framework of an agreement, a shape of an agreement, as they say on Wall Street, coming out of this deal?
Yeah, listen, I think that's a great point. Oftentimes, we talk about the debt ceiling. We say, well, at the end of the day, markets will force action. Right at the very end. Well, it doesn't have to be at the very end. There can be a lot of turbulence leading up to it if investors think there's no progress. I think people coming out of meetings saying not only maybe was there not much progress, but they're not even willing to talk about a temporary extension to create more time for negotiation. And certainly some Democrats and Republicans have said that. I can think of Ted Cruz and Elizabeth Warren off the top of my head. I think that would be a bad sign because I think an extension would help. And to not even give on that and have that happen, I would find that worrisome.
All right, so Jimmy, just yesterday, the Wall Street Journal had an article out with a quote from someone from the White House saying a short-term extension is, quote, "it is not our plan." Now, is that just gamesmanship, or just in your mind, is a short-term extension the most likely outcome when it comes to all of this?
Again, I think that'd be a reassuring outcome. I find that that statement to be a little bit lawyerly. I think they probably would go for that at this point. And again, if that's not going to happen, that means these negotiations could be highly compressed. And again, I think that raises sort of the threat level a notch or two.